Good morning. Jenny and I are going to give you an update on the Atlas, and some of you were familiar with it, and some others may not. But the main objective of our brief presentation is actually to tell you where we are with this project. So first, let me tell you why the Atlas. You may remember that we launched it in November 2015, and at that point, the point was made that businesses need many tools to do their risk assessment in the sort of the tone that Osse was presenting, and to do that and to ensure that child rights were part of that risk assessment, we needed to develop a tool at their disposal. So we have that in place with indicators that help businesses do exactly that. Now, what are the key perspectives around the Atlas that were developed? So there are sort of three pillars that you will find. The first one is that it is based on the child rights and business principles. This is quite a crucial one because the fact that it's there, that it's public, it can safely allow us to say that this is child rights based. And it's just not a wide risk assessment tool, but it actually has a big emphasis on child rights. The second perspective is that it's designed for business. So the Atlas is not a standalone tool. The Atlas is supposed to be used in tandem with a number of tools that companies use for their assessments. So of course, when this happens, we do want them to use the Atlas to be able to bring a child rights perspective into their assessment, so that when risks are identified and they're managed, everything that has to do with the prevention, the mitigation, and the accounting for these risks can actually incorporate risks associated with children. In this respect, now that Teresa was speaking, I have to say that the reporting tool that we have developed with the GRI is very complementary to this Atlas. And finally, the third perspective is that it is a robust methodology in the sense that to be able to develop the Atlas, we have been working with so many indicators I can't even explain, because the child rights and business principles, you can enunciate them and you can make a very trendy presentation, but then when you're actually going to measure, you need to have the indicators. And I can tell you we have worked really hard to make sure that this is in place for 198 countries, that there are indicators for all of the principles, and that it actually crosses across industries. So it's quite robust as a methodology. Now, how does this work in practice? This is where Jenny comes in. So over to you, Jenny.
As you heard throughout the morning, business interact with children as different stakeholders. Also spoke to it, Fiona and Johan and Ulf. And businesses also need different sources of information to identify and assess this risk, as Andrés said. In developing the Atlas, we identified, as said by Andrés, a number of risks that we think business should take into account as they assess risks. We then developed the indices to help companies first identify and then map the extent of those risks. Let's look at how one company might use the Atlas. This company is about to enter a new market. It's about to set up production. For this company, one key issue that they are prioritizing is decent work for young workers. For this company, the region of South America is of particular interest. So by using the Atlas as a tool, by using the map function of the Atlas, this company can zoom into the region of interest to see how this risk is present in this region. So what this map that you see tells us and the company is that yes, the risk is there, but it's spread uneven across the region, quite naturally. What this shows is that the risk is higher in Colombia than in Brazil of young workers' rights being violated. The company might also decide to assess a number of risks or look at risks across a number of countries to get more information. What this quite dense data shows them is that, yes, if they stick to the priority issue of the risk of violating young workers' rights, Paraguay is a high-risk location. But what the atlas also allows them to do is to see that there might be other risks that they should have on their radar in deciding what to do. One of these issues is child labor. And then the atlas helps them identify one of the high-risk locations where they can see that Bolivia in South America is such a high-risk location. This data can then enable the company to make an informed decision on next steps. Do they need more information? Do they need deeper information? Do they need to consult other stakeholders? Or what should they do? But at least the atlas enables the company to make informed decisions on these risks. And as Fiona and Johan said, identifying your risk in relation to children's rights and managing that risk can be turned into creating business value. Since the atlas was launched in November last year, it has been on a bit of a tour. We have been in London, in New York, and in Kuala Lumpur, where we have gathered feedback from the users, the business community. And this has been extremely valuable for us, as all the feedback that we've heard from the users enables us to make the atlas an even more attractive tool. The feedback that we've received from the business community is also informing our next steps with the atlas. We are, in line with the feedback, improving the user-friendliness of the atlas, because that's one of the things that the users has told us. It's a bit complex to use. So we are doing something about that. We are making it more easier to navigate and more user-friendly in its layout and design. And secondly, we are also, as well, in order to make it more user-friendly, we are even further aligning the atlas methodology and the language with the established language of the children's rights and business principles of looking at children's rights in the workplace, marketplace, community, and environment. And we think this might make it easier and more attractive to use. We're also including best practice and case studies to inform the users and to make users see how companies are using it. I would like to say that we are extremely proud of this atlas and of our partnership with UNICEF, which has made the atlas possible at all. We have also given you quite a quick overview of this tool. And so we think there might be questions or comments. But before them, we would also like to encourage you all, if you haven't already, please visit the atlas online, take a look, and then think about what it could potentially do for your business or for your line of work. We look forward to hear this from you, and we're eager to receive your feedback.